tot byt.
Ons gaan voortbly vanoggend se gesprek oor die verwantskap tussen politiek en publieke bereidwilligheid om belasting te betaal en sê weer eens welkom aan Patricia Williams, belastinggeskil beslegtingskenner by Bowmans. Patricia, the Romanian study referred to earlier explains that the structure of a tax system can hinder taxpayers' willingness to comply and makes taxpayers think twice before paying all of their taxes. Do you agree with this finding?
Yes, well, we may have our own views on it. That is what the study has found, and it's actually one of those studies which is a meta-study, so it's actually compiling findings from numerous other studies and compiling and collating those and seeing the common themes. So this has been found numerous times. Now, we were speaking about the tax structure, and two of the issues we've already spoken about is having complicated laws that are difficult to understand, and then having lots and lots of different kinds of taxes, so that people feel quite burdened by multiple taxes. Then the third problem sometimes with tax structures is what's perceived to be bureaucracy. So when your rules, it's all about rules and process rather than about actual fairness. And what we face in South Africa that can feel like that is things around the timing that the time periods within which you must comply as a taxpayer, otherwise you just lose your rights. So I often caution people and I say you have to be very, very careful, because if you don't comply with the procedure, you could actually lose your substantive rights. As an example, if you submit your income tax return, SARS has normally 3 years to reassess you, but you have 30 business days to find a problem and object. And if you don't object within that time, you've got a whole lot of difficulties. There's a 30 business day extension for reasonable grounds, and after that you have to prove exceptional circumstances, and that can be a very hard burden. So then you'll end up feeling like the taxpayer that you have to comply with every little thing, and if you don't, they say, sorry, you're too late. We won't even listen to your argument whether or not you're right. But the same rules don't apply against SARS. And even if they in theory apply against SARS, SARS routinely doesn't comply with the time periods with the disputes. And then what must you do? Must you go to court and say, well, now I need default judgment, or it's too expensive? There's so many hurdles you've got to actually go through as a taxpayer that make you feel like the processes involved in the system are too difficult, and fairness towards you, that it's not an even playing field. These kinds of things make people unwilling to pay their taxes.
Has the behavior of South African taxpayers changed over the last couple of years, considering our political challenges?
Yes, I would say there definitely have been changes. And obviously, I only see a slice of it. If people are evading taxes, that's not what they talk to their lawyers about. But the kinds of things that people start talking to me about now, I hear more and more that people are saying, hey, what about immigration and migration of my businesses? That people are starting to say, I've had enough. I had somebody saying, for years people have been saying I should set up business offshore, and I didn't. But now with the delayed VAT refunds, which you would have also seen in the press a lot, they said, now that that's happening in our business, we've decided to push the button on this, and we want to actually start moving our businesses offshore. And so we are seeing a lot of changes like that. And if you look at the political structure, and that's what the paper found about the political side, the fiscal side, that's around how money is spent. So people feel like if you're seeing in the public eye that money is being mismanaged or wasted, so in the South African context, your fruitless and wasteful expenditure, all of the allegations of corruption, state capture, mismanagement of funds within parastatals, those things, you feel like, well, I'm paying my taxes, but look where it's going. I'm actually supporting these systems. I don't want to support these systems. This is not right. And then the other thing, apart from mismanagement of funds, there'll be things like public goods. So by that, I'm talking about things that the government usually provides. So in many countries, what people get will be things like free or very subsidized education, even up to university education, public health care that sometimes you don't have to pay. It's sometimes very high quality in other countries. Security. So it was very interesting for me recently when I read that the people employed in private security is like 4 times the number of people in the police force and the National Defence Force combined.
And it's also now the first time that it's the biggest employer in South Africa, the security industry, more than mining. And it's never been like that. I mean, that's also making history, yeah. And now we have to pay for that.
And
That's
in
it's
other
not for free.
countries,
You know?
you don't have to pay for security. You don't worry. I mean, we always hear things about overseas where people don't even lock their houses, and that those things are often included, so to speak, in your taxes. Then things like national parks, the roads, the quality of the roads, all of those things that normally are included in what you pay your taxes for. Then if you're paying high tax rates and you're not getting these things, you say, but I have to pay medical aid on top of this. I have to pay security on top of this. You start feeling like you're not getting a fair deal. And that's about the political structure and the political policy as regards tax.
I just want to interrupt you there. The only reason why they don't lock the doors in Canada is because if you lock yourself out, you freeze to death. Social media, Henry.
Op Facebook Groot FM 90.5 en op Twitter. Want ons graag hê jy moet jou goeie nuus met ons deel. Ons weet nou belasting is nie noodwendig altyd 'n goeie nuus storie nie, maar dalk is daar iets daaraan verbonde. So ek sien heelwat terugvoer wat ons ontvang het. Corneille Minnar wat sê wel my goeie nuus is dis Vrydag. Jeppie. Dis iets om na uit te sien. Rita Nellet sê enige nuus